and welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Each Other's Soulmates. We're back again for another episode. What is up? What is up, everyone? We are back with season 2, episode 4, titled They Shoot Single People, Don't They? Interesting title. We'll be probably buffing it out to post it, knowing that's a hot, controversial topic with, a lot of things going on. And just a lot of censorship on the internet with, more of things like trigger words. We're going to have to probably buff it out. So, but that's the title of this episode. Definitely an interesting one. So we'll get into it. But once again, we are each other's soulmates. We are two broads talking about our 4 favorite broads in New York City. We are just going to get right into this shit. Let's go.
Here we go. So we start this episode off with our 4 favorite broads out on the town together. They're at a salsa club, enjoying that all 4 of them are actually single at the same time. And they're living it up. The dance moves are honestly pretty cringe, but you can tell they're having a great time.
I thought it was cute.
It's cute, but like, it's a little cringe.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that's like the best kind of like fun was when it's a little cringe.
That is true.
And they're all they all stop dancing and go to the bar and start talking about how they're all single at the same time. And Charlotte's kind of like, oh no, I'm single right now. And Samantha's like, she's offering advice, like, you need to learn how to be okay with being alone. And she says, embrace the fact that you're alone, slap on some armor, and enjoy men, without expecting them to fill you up, other than when, they're filling you up.
You've been filled up.
Yeah. And so they're talking about this, just trying to get different perspectives on what it means how to feel about being single. And as they're talking about that, one of the club owners actually approaches Samantha, asking her to dance and go out. And she politely declines, but he gives her his card and says that if you ever want to go for a dance, we could have some fun. And, they're all just like having a fun time. But then Carrie tries to leave early, saying she has a photo shoot in the morning for an article. Stanford had been dating this assistant photo editor for this major magazine, and Carrie got asked to be on the cover for an article called Single and Fabulous. So,
yeah,
she has to leave early to go to the photo shoot in the morning, but all the ladies are so drunk and they're all having so much fun. They're like, no, stay. And so she stays. And you see her doing her little walk home in the morning as the garbage men are already on their route. She's like...
Yeah, she's walking in at dawn.
Yeah.
Here.
And so I guess it was like a weekday too. And she's just going home. And, in her infinite wisdom, she decides that it's better to just stay up the rest of the morning, have a cup of coffee, and wait for the photo shoot and just go. It's fucking stupid. Like, why would you ever?
No. Also, set an alarm. Set an alarm.
Like, at this point in time,
even if you sleep through the alarm, okay, but at least you set one.
Right? And yeah, and also she like decides to pass the time by reading the newspaper in her bed. Like, you're just asking for trouble at that point.
Seriously.
So she oversleeps and wakes up to Stanford calling her. Everybody's already freaking out, wondering where she is. And she's like, I need 20 minutes. And
she's already 40 minutes late.
Yeah. Can you imagine if, you had gotten me into this magazine cover photo shoot and I did that? That's bullshit. Like, honestly, that's bad.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And she should have known better. But she goes to the photo shoot, and the guy that Stanford's seeing, his name's Neville. He's like nice to her. He's like, hi. And then she's like, I'm so sorry. I never keep people waiting. And he's like, well, you're about a fucking month late.
I love that line.
I love that line too. You're about a fucking month late. everybody's fucking pissed because they've been waiting for forever. You know, because when you're doing a magazine photo shoot, you have to think like there's a photographer, there's somebody who's in charge of lighting, there's people moving equipment,
So many
there's
people.
people doing
There's makeup, there's hair, there's like
clothes,
everyone on
like
set. Yeah.
it's not just like the person being photographed and the photographer. And all of these people are on New York time, which goes way faster, and they've been waiting for an hour. So they're fucking pissed. And Carrie is walking in there looking like an absolute, like, honestly, absolute shit. Like,
A
she,
freak show.
yeah, not showered. She looked like a hot mess. She shows up smoking a cigarette and everything. Like, it's just, it's not cute. And
Not a good look.
no. They rush her to the photography set and they begin taking photos of her, like, as is, while she's still
They're like, oh, these are test shots. They're like, oh, these are test shots. Don't worry.
Yeah,
She's like, we're going to have time for hair and makeup, right?
And they're like,
and they're like, yeah, sure.
And Carrie's like, I mean, is it okay if I'm smoking? Like, she's already been in there for a few minutes and now she's asking if it's okay to smoke. And the photographer tells her, I don't care if you shoot up.
I don't care if you shoot up. I love that line.
And they just keep taking photos and everybody's just pissed, but they have to do the shoot anyway. So the shoot is done and, you know, just not good. So the next day, you know, we have Miranda, Charlotte, and Carrie on a run. And as they're running in one direction, there's a guy who's running in the opposite direction, and he stops and starts running backwards as they're running. It's cute. And his name is Josh, and he starts talking to Miranda. Like, obviously they know each other, and, you know, he's just kind of flirting with her lightly, and Miranda's just kind of like, yeah, totally. And he ends it with, well, you've got my number, go ahead and give me a call. And, you know, as soon as he leaves, they ask her, like, who was that? He was cute. And Miranda tells them that he's an ophthalmologist that she once faked orgasms with.
What a way to introduce. You know what's funny? You know what this brings up is the fact that as women, we do give nicknames to our interest and or past lovers. There is secret code names. I don't know why. I guess we just don't want to drop government names in public sometimes, but it is really funny, like, in those kind of conversations.
For real, because, like, San Antonio is huge, but San Antonio is small. Like, I feel like I'm always running into people that I know from, like, a friend of a friend or something.
So I just talked about this. So I did a guest spot on the PWT podcast with my friend Scrump, and we were talking about that. We were talking about dropping government names, and he's like, I don't give a shit. He goes, I'm up here saying like Sabrina Rodriguez, like he'll just drop it. I was like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I'm so cognizant of that stuff. And he's like, just say it. I'm like, no. And I told him the exact same thing. I said, San Antonio is a large city. However, it is way too small. Like, and he's from Chicago. So I'm like, that's probably like, you'll be all right, you know, but I'm like, we just can't, or I in good faith can't like name drop on here. Like we suggest, and I tell him, I'm like, we suggest things that like, if the person knew or listened, they would know it's about them. But you know, I mean, we're gonna always keep private. For me, that's very important to me. I'm gonna maintain people's privacy if they're not consenting to these kinds of stories or things, obviously. But yeah, it is funny. It's just like, oh yeah, that's like faked orgasm. That's faked orgasm ophthalmologist. You know, like we'll say things like that. Oh, that's so and so. You know, and it's always some just like bullshit thing. Like if they like, let's say like, and this is in no way sense or form like as a derogatory statement, but like let's say like the guy put on chapstick in front of me, we're like, oh, that's chapstick. Like it's like what it's a thing, you know, we'll pick an inanimate object, we'll pick something that just happened, and that's how we associate them. And it's no way it's no you know, it's not meant to be derogatory. It's just the way girls do it sometimes. You know, I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny when we do that, how we refer to people sometimes. I don't know if guys do that. Men, if you're out there listening, do you guys give nicknames for your interest? Like, oh, hey, that's so and so. I'm sure they do. I'm sure it's like sexy too. They're like, oh, blowjob, you know, oh, doggy, yeah, her. It has to be. It has to be. That'd be funny. Oh, screamer. It has to be. There has to be. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I wonder what mine would be. Actually,
Ooh, I wonder what mine would be. I'm curious. Anyone who's ever hooked up with me, tell me in the comments. I'm sure there's some of you out there.
oh my God, that's so. Yeah, I would like to know too. So,
Yeah.
okay, so the ophthalmologist that she faked orgasms with, slept with him twice, and she had to fake it both times. So she just never answered his last phone call for the third date. You know, she just like kind of like, I guess like before ghosting, she ghosted him.
Yeah.
And Charlotte's just like, you would dump on an ophthalmologist over that?
What a Charlotte thing to do, you know, like, dude, it's a doctor.
And Miranda's like, isn't an orgasm pretty important in a relationship? And Charlotte's like, yeah, but it's not the only thing. Orgasms don't hold your hand, or they don't send you flowers on a Valentine's Day, you know, or like hold your hand in a sad movie. Like, and Carrie's just like,
When
what?
have I have never in my life been held by whilst watching a sad movie. I've never been comforted because I cried at the Green Mile.
Is that
I
the
actually got recorded and humiliated for crying at the Green Mile so
Marley
excessively.
or any of those?
What about Marley and Me?
Wait, no, I'm
Huh?
sorry. The other movie that I don't know if I can mention it without the homeward.
All right, oh yeah, hold up. Let's be real. Vulnerable hour. Dude, the only thing that makes me cry, like viciously sob in this world, is animals. I mean, we talk about this. We talked about Molly. We talked about my thing with rodents, dude. I don't know. Anyway, the only thing that makes me legitimately sob is animals, dude. I can't. Like, I can't. So what does it for me? Milo Notice makes me cry. All Dogs Go to Heaven makes me cry. Hachi, forget it. Forget it, dude. If if I'm anywhere near the screen that Hachi's playing on, I'm fucking done, dude. I'm fucking donezo. That's a way, like, if anyone's ever curious how to take me down, if you want to knock me down a pedestal, you want me to feel like shit, put on a movie where a dog dies. That's the only thing that'll do it for me. Anything else, forget it, baby. I'm fucking solid.
That's why I said Marley and Me. That one didn't do it for you.
Marley and Me. No, I cried at Marley and Me, but first, it's not as like, I don't know. It's not something that, like, I don't know. It's like I cry, of course, but it's not like a heavy hitter to me.
Yeah.
It is not a heavy hitter to me. I cry in the Green Mile pretty excessively.
Yeah.
That's a big one for. Oh, that's actually one where a human, like, where I'm crying over a human.
Wow. That good, huh?
Yeah, but a rodent does get harmed in that movie, and it's what set the precedence. So I think I just had like an appetizer for the end. So I had to. What's so funny?
I just thought
Dude, I can't with my rodents, man. I love rodents, dude.
I didn't remember that a rodent was injured, and so that makes more sense. Okay.
You know, it's funny, every time I talk about this, everyone's, I'm like, yeah, you guys know my thing with rodents. I always have people dig fun at me, all my friends. Yeah, look at your dating history. I'm like, you know what? I didn't ask you guys for that kind of input today. No one was being mean. We were talking about mice, dude.
We're having a good time. Oh my god.
Now we're bringing up ophthalmologists who we fake orgasms with. Rude.
And then, like, Charlotte's here, like, well, like, what's one moment of ooh and ah versus spending the whole night in bed? And Miranda's like,
wait, what?
No, yeah. So
Oh, these are my options. Yeah.
like Miranda's just like orgasms are pretty important in a relationship, and Charlotte's here like, oh, they're not
Absolutely.
that important. And
And
yeah,
that's why Charlotte is the way she is.
yeah. Because she's here saying like, what's one little moment of ooh and ah versus spending the whole night in bed alone.
Dude, no.
No,
What?
girl.
No. Dude,
But
I honestly give myself better orgasms than like anyone. Let's be real. Like, come on. I'll know myself more than any man or whoever will love my body. Well, actually debatable. The night is still young. I am only 28. So, we'll see. Maybe
God.
someone's coming up to bat.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god, this one's a fun episode. We were talking right before recording. We're like, what's the theme of this one? We're like, what can we,
Yeah.
what's like kind of the main things? And we're talking about like it's heavy with singleness, it's heavy with faking, and we'll get more into it, but
Having
armoring, like,
for protect
yeah.
yourself in these kind of situations.
Yeah, but I feel like we're really hitting on the whole single girl aspect here in this episode. So
Oh
hence
yeah.
why, the title. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So Charlotte is just like, who's to say what's more important? Like a one little moment of ooh and ah, or when he brings you a cup of coffee in the morning. Just like,
First of all, why are you still here?
yeah.
I'm just kidding. But
Uh,
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I get it. If you want and or need that human connection, if that's more important to you than sex, then that's that.
yeah.
Some people can do it, some people can do without it. But yeah, so Charlotte, obviously, that's not a main concern for her.
No, it really isn't. Yeah. And Miranda's just like, I'd take an orgasm over a cup of French drip Colombian any day. Carrie's like, I don't know. For me, it's a toss up. Depends.
I was about to say, for me, I'm like, you know what? It depends on the morning.
Yeah.
It depends on the morning.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, after the run, Carrie stops to go get more cigarettes. So this is when you know you have a problem, dude. So she goes up to the little cigarette stand, or I guess the little convenience store. It's like
It's like, yeah, it's like a newsstand, but it's a newsstand, but there's like snacks and stuff.
yeah, and all she says is the usual, please. And he pulls out 2 packs of Marlboro Lights.
Love that. I honestly love that.
2 packs?
Yeah. She's preparing.
Yeah.
You think that's like a day? What if she just ran out?
It just, I don't know. That's a lot to me. 2 packs at once.
Yeah, you know what? I've never bought when I used to smoke cigarettes, I never bought like 2 packs at once. But I wasn't a huge smoker.
Okay, I was a smoker, and I think that, yeah, when I would buy 2 packs, it was because, this is terrible. I would get a second pack because I would go to, the strip, St. Mary's strip, or go to the gay strip.
Oh, you share?
No, people will buy them off of you.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
profit.
No, seriously. I was literally,
Yeah.
I was telling my husband this earlier. One time I got $20 for like a little less than half a pack of cigarettes.
You know what's funny? My dad always taught me this story. He goes, Bella, if you ever want to bum a cigarette, you got to give someone at least $1. And I was like, thank you, words of wisdom from Jason. But like now it's really funny because like I do think of stuff like that. But like, let's be real. As a girl, it's how oh, does anyone have a cigarette? I'm like, here, let me. And they're like, no. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
But now I don't do that anymore because I vape. So usually I typically bring my own vape. Again, I'm trying not to vape as well. I actually don't vape as much anymore. I even though I started back up again, I'm like, I feel like shit. It's like sometimes I was like, what? I didn't smoke for over a year. I went no nicotine, and I started again, and I was like, why do I? What? I was like, I miss this. I was like, ugh. So it kind of lost its allure for me. So
Yeah, I feel like when you hit the year mark, it kind of gets like that. It's like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, it's like it's nice to have when I'm out drinking. You're like, oh yeah, I hit a nicotine here and there, but I'm just like now I'm like, ugh. But I also I haven't smoked a cigarette in a hot minute too. So, but I'm
Yeah.
also not a huge cigarette kind of person.
Uh,
Oh no, you know what? Actually, I haven't smoked the cigarettes I used to smoke, and I feel like if I do, that might be what does it.
oh shit. What's your cigarette like?
Marlboro menthol smooths shorts.
I feel that. Mine is definitely
Love those.
light blue American spirits.
Yeah.
So bad.
I saw them the other day and I was all, or it was a TikTok. Oh yeah. It was a TikTok of a girl's dresser and it was very reminiscent of my dresser from 3 years ago. And I was like, oh, I was like, Kesha would be so proud, you know? And I'm just like, that blue pack of, it was funny when I was dating my ex at the time, he knew if I started he knew if I was smoking, he's like, oh, you're stressed. I was like, yeah. He's like, you bought cigarettes? And I was like, yes, I bought cigarettes and you're not helping. Oh God.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything to help you solve the problem. Just points out what you're right.
Points out the coping mechanism.
Yeah, to help with. But
oh God.
so yeah.
Hot meat kettle.
So yeah, no, she gets her two.
Yeah.
She's getting her 2 packs of cigarettes, and while he's reaching for those cigarettes, she looks up at the magazines that are displayed, and she sees herself on the cover of the magazine that she took the photo for. But it don't look like she thought it was gonna look. It's bad. It's so bad.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Let me pull it up.
Okay.
Let me pull it up.
Does that? I'll explain. You remember how I said the photo shoot was called Single and Fabulous? Well, when they told Carrie that, they kind of like insinuated a little exclamation point at the end of it, but there was a question mark at the end of it. It was not single and fabulous, it was single and fabulous. It was a huge question mark, and right below that it says eat, drink, and never be married. And
oh yeah, here, let me pull it up.
Such a bad photo of her. Like, it was absolutely one of the ones where she looked like something that got caught out of the drain. She's still smoking her cigarette, and if anything, it was literally to make her look even worse. It's
a little rough.
Like, that's like heroin chic after the overdose. Like,
it's a little rough.
It really
honestly though, kind of a vibe. Because I feel single and fabulous, and I do wake up like this. I sleep in my makeup though, so sometimes I don't wake up like that.
So Carrie goes to the diner, meets up with the girls. They all have brunch, and she tells them all about what happened. And she's like, "I was set up. There was no question mark implied at any point. They set me up."
She wasn't set up. They were pissed off. There was retaliation.
Yeah, probably.
It wasn't a setup. They weren't gonna do that. It's just because she showed up late
and looked like.
You know what I'm curious? You know what I'm curious about though? So in that scene, they're like, "Oh, are we gonna do hair and makeup?" She's like, "Yeah." And she obviously was shocked at this cover. So there are shots of her post hair and makeup.
Yeah.
They said, "Go fuck yourself. We're using the test shots."
Yeah. Dude, you don't keep people waiting in New York.
No. Yeah.
No.
In like showbiz and stuff like that, it's like that is the worst kind of trait to have.
Such a no-no. And yeah, Samantha's just like, yeah, you're single, fabulous, and fucked. Honestly, like
single, fabulous, and
fucked. With you after that. And Charlotte's like, "Can we sue them?" And Miranda's like, "For what? Mispunctuation?"
Dude, no, for real though.
Oh,
That's so funny. Because
love-
you consent. You sign consents, anytime you're in something like that, anytime your picture, your stories are sold or, put somewhere, you have to sign consents. And if you're not reading what they put, you can if it says like you're signing to anything, we get to use whatever pictures, shots, whatever, like too bad, so sad.
but it is.
So you signed the release.
Yeah. And Carrie's like, well, it's too late. Everyone's seen me looking like something that got pulled out of a drain. She's like, that's it. I just quit smoking. Charlotte's like reading the article and it's like single was fun at 20, but you want to ask these women how fun all night club hopping will be at when you're 40? And Charlotte's like, who's out all night? And Samantha, who's 40?
So I said that last episode because I was like, doesn't Samantha say that? Who's 40? And I thought it was last episode or something. But yeah, dude, I love her and her delusional ass because we were talking about that where, the guy tells her, oh, what are you, 40? And she's like, what the fuck? I'm like, Samantha, like you're in your 40s. Just come on. It's okay. It is okay to be in your 40s.
It was not okay back then. It's like,
That's just sad.
It is.
What's so ironic about that little clip right there though? Because Charlotte's like, who's out all night? I'm like, you bitches, you guys were just out all night.
And getting your friend to stay out all night when you knew she had something important to do.
Yeah, I think you guys are just
like,
you guys are just trying to pass the fucking blame. And Samantha being like, who's 40? I'm like, you guys. That's projection.
Yeah, and Charlotte keeps reading the article. It says, filling their lives with an endless parade of decoys and distraction to avoid the painful truth that they're completely alone.
Honestly, though, what the fuck kind of article is that?
It's
like,
okay,
that's...
so it really is a cautionary tale. And they talk about that. They say how, like, this happens every few years. Like, a magazine article will print a cautionary tale to scare young women into marriage. That shit don't work nowadays, but like that is what they would do, these campaigns to try to, pressure women into getting married when they didn't really want to.
That's true. You know what I've always wanted to do is kind of look up like things like articles in magazines like in the 50s, because there is a lot of prints and stuff like that of like how to be a better housewife and how to do this and blah blah blah. And I was like, you know what, I want to try and get my hands on that and really see some of the comparison of what we have now v back then. So thanks for reminding me. I want to go look into that.
When I was in school, I remember we were dissecting some old ads and stuff, and one of them popped up like that. Mm-hmm. And I remember it was it's a pretty famous one. You've probably seen it. It was like a man in bed, and he's like got his arms behind his head, and he's laying down. And the woman, it has like a plate, and she's like kneeling down and serving it to him. And it says something to the lines of like, "This is a man's world, and you're just living in it. Like, serve your husband." Oh. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. And if I remember correctly, somebody more recently did a flip of it, and it's the woman in bed.
They really? Very cool. That's interesting. I do. It's funny is what's that one song? I don't want to mistake I think it's James Brown. It has to be. Hold up. This once I say the name, you'll know. It's James Brown. And this is a man's world. You heard that song?
Yeah.
To me, so I always hear like that's the song that's very prevalent in my head when I talk about these things or like hear about these things. And so when I'm feeling kind of like I'm a woman in kind of a male dominated field right now, that song is like what keeps me going. And it's like, it's funny, right? Because it's like, oh, this is a man's world. And I'm like, is it? I'm like, and so I kind of use it to fire me up and to kind of like, ironically get myself in the gear of just like, okay, I know I'm like, this is a bit of a struggle, but and it's not that I'm like not saying like anything's like predatory or weird, but you just kind of get a little like, okay, I'm the only woman here, or like I'm the only woman on this flyer, and you get a little, it's sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking,
Yeah, I try doing a male-dominated industry once. I tried doing construction for a little bit, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to get into that field, and that was brutal. That was a
Yeah.
brutal thing.
It's the duality is actually really interesting because in my day job I'm a nurse, and so nursing is obviously female dominated, which has its own struggles of its own. But you know, this is the duality is in my life right now is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Oh yeah.
cool.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But no, dude, this article fucked these ladies up. Like it was a
For real.
ruiner. And
Imagine if that article came out now. I'm sure it is on actually some like alternative like media article.
gosh.
I'm sure it's actually still out there, let's be real.
Oh, it definitely is, but it's just it's harder to control the narrative for everyone nowadays. It's there's so many more
Oh
poor
yeah, there's no way.
information from than there was back then. So there's that at least. But oh my god, it just yeah, everybody's just like fuck this article, but Carrie's like, I know they're saying that, but I don't think they feel like that because in the next week everything changed. She says that Miranda called Josh and the ophthalmologist she called him up and we see a clip of her faking another orgasm with him. And then Samantha meets William, the club owner, and we see them dancing together. And then Charlotte introduces us to her friend Tom, who is an out of work actor. And, we come into him fixing her VCR for her. And he's just talking about how, he's thinking about moving to Salt Lake City. He got an offer to act on a Christian soap opera. And they're joking. They're like, Days of Our Mormon Lives. And
I kind of love that.
I do too. I feel I would watch that.
I'd probably
uh,
watch that too.
I would watch it if it was like filmed like in a like reality show style. Like
That actually might be like really funny.
that would, right? Um and Charlotte's like upset when she hears that he's gonna be leaving. She's like saying how she had come to depend on him for fixing things in her apartment. And she made a decision right there. She said, I'm not gonna let my Mr. Fix It get away. And just a side note, this dude is the complete opposite of the kind of guy that she would normally date ever. Like, I don't think at any other point in the show, before and after, she dates a guy with like less than six figures.
Yeah. And just like physically and just like
Unless
appearance wise.
like
Unless what?
she wouldn't date a guy with less than six figures in the 90s.
Yeah. And just like, I mean, it's just the whole, it's almost like white collar versus blue collar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
She doesn't know that type at all.
Mm-mm.
Even goes so far as to put, Miranda down later in the show for dating a guy who,
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that.
So this is definitely out of her normal.
Yeah, but I think we all do that. I think we all kind of date someone that's like out of your typical type and or norm. I think you have to.
Kind of circumstances or like any.
I think maybe just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Because when you're used to dating a certain type, it can change your viewpoint in a good or a bad way. You can be like, hey, you know what? This is actually a better fit. Or hey, you know what? I'm never doing this again. So I think it's just like live and learn, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we have the next scene and Carrie's writing on her laptop and she starts talking about how, while women are no strangers to faking it, we fake our hair color, we fake our cup size, we even fake fur. She can't help but wonder,
who's faking cup sizes? Just kidding.
Not us.
I'm all not us. Who's faking cup sizes? But
Like,
honestly, though, what we were just talking about, what, 2 episodes ago, I'm like, I want a boob job.
yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh.
We fake our hair color, even for. Yeah, this is not my natural hair color. If you guys didn't know,
Yeah,
I
she
just got it dyed.
actually black hair.
I was, it's funny is I had my roots last episode, and I don't got them. Thanks, Aubrey.
Oh man. Okay, but yeah, no, she says she can't help but wonder, has the fear of being alone suddenly raised the bar on faking? Are we faking
Mm-hmm.
more orgasms? Are we faking entire relationships? Is it better to fake than to be alone?
I feel like we've talked about this actually quite a bit
Uh,
throughout the season so far. I do feel like we do this whole like, well, what's the like what is this big fear of being single?
yeah,
Obviously the point of the show is like for single women in New York, but it's like essentially there is no like actual like end goal of like, well, we want marriage. We did like this is like a like a whole what am I thinking? Like a game to get married. Like that's what the end goal is here. But like because what am I trying to say?
like a journey.
Like yeah, it's like, but then we're also like, it's like a self-discovery thing of like, okay, it is okay to also just be alone. And I think that Samantha's our angle of that,
Yeah,
and I think Samantha tries really hard to push the narrative to them. Well, not like really hard, but she's always definitely the emphasis of like, well, why?
yeah,
So I'm glad we do have that angle as much as it might get put down. Like I'm glad that the entire show isn't just about four women desperately trying to get married,
yeah,
and stew in their singleness, because let's be real, the whole point of the podcast and the show too and is in the moments of like we are each other's soulmate, like we forget that we have these wonderful women and friends and friendships along the way of life. At the end of the day, it's not about who you were with, or it's just what it's whatever relationships you did have, regardless if they
yeah.
were romantic or not.
I feel
You
like,
and then you have a beautiful sense of self too, like this is your life, like let's focus on that first,
yeah, I just feel like platonic soulmates are just a little underrated, and people should enjoy.
Absolutely.
You know?
Just recently, actually it was yesterday, I went out with my other friend, and we went out with it was me and her, and then a couple, my friend and her boyfriend, new boyfriend. And they recently got together, cute little story. And so I already told my friend the story. And so like to make conversation, he was saying something along the lines of like, "Oh yeah, this is like how we met." And she's like, "Oh, actually, like I heard you guys' like little story." And then they were like, "Oh, what?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, me and Bella like talk about everything. We talk every day, and blah blah blah." And he's like, "That's so beautiful." He's like, "It's beautiful to have a friend, it's beautiful to have someone you can just talk to every day, or they know everything." It's like we forget that there's these connections you can have other than romantic. And
Yeah,
girlhood is definitely prevalent, especially nowadays too. And I was just talking about that with men too. I feel like not a lot of men focus on their friends. Some do, which is it's nice to see, like, oh, this is my buddy, like we talk about everything. And I feel like that's great because you have someone to talk to. You
yeah,
can you every I'm like, you guys need friends. It's okay
yeah,
to have friends,
and
even
not
like
right.
even people who game, like
Yeah,
people, I'm like, as long as you're talking to someone every day, like
yeah, and
vent
somebody
with your buddies.
sympathize with you and the things that you appreciate and hate and want to do and don't want to do and all that.
Exactly.
Like express that too. It's so important, you know.
Absolutely. So yeah,
It should
I mean,
all
yeah, singleness is
give it to your partner. Like I feel like that should be divided, not just you can't expect
absolutely.
your partner. You should like kind of spread that out a little bit, you know.
That's Yeah, because that's a heavy burden. Like, let's be
And
real. Your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife,
significant
like
other,
husband, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't just be like
the one
that's the you give them
person.
everything. Like
Yeah,
that's a lot of info.
it's too much, you know.
It's too
And
much. You need to break it up a little.
yeah, you know, and just Spread it out. Get a village, you know. If you,
Absolutely. I think that's,
but
you think what?
I was just saying, spread it out when you can. Just get yourself a village when you can. Obviously, don't,
Yeah.
just willy nilly get anybody off the street. Build connections and empathize,
Yeah.
talk to each
Yeah,
other.
you want good friends. You want good solid friends you can actually talk to about things, And they're out there. There's going to be someone out there who will be your friend for sure. We'll be your friend. We'll be your friend if you want to talk to us. Only if you're cool though. Just kidding.
Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, no, this whole take on, are we just kind of faking things just to have someone?
To have
And
some,
I think it just not only is it
not,
like I think not only yeah, like is it an image thing too? Because it's like the image of being single and not having someone, but it's also I think there's two big things about like being single. People are scared of the image of being single, and then people are actually scared of being alone. I think if you don't have both, you have one or the other.
yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
But does it make faking it worth it? Like to fake it
I
for
don't think ever.
no. I've
I don't
never
think ever. I don't.
done when I was with somebody I didn't want to be with
You
personally.
never what?
I've never felt more alone than when I was with somebody that I didn't want to be with. That was
That's
awful.
such a heavy statement.
No.
But I think that's how you learn, and that's how you know, right?
Oh,
That's how you know you're like, oh, I am not really in
yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But speaking of faking it, right? So we get to the next scene, and it's interviewing people of New York again, and
The interview style.
yeah.
It's so
So
fun.
we have the first person. It's this lady, and she's saying her and her boyfriend were really compatible when they met, except for one thing. She wasn't really his type. His type was blonde, thin, waspy types. And so she became one. So,
Oh, Jesus.
yeah, finding somebody that you feel like you're so compatible with that you change your entire image to be with them, that's upsetting.
I've done that. Well, maybe not my entire image, but you definitely kind of, if you don't have a strong sense of self, you can lose yourself pretty easily, and you can find yourself kind of catering towards the image of who you're with.
Yeah,
And that can be very draining and very ugly and very, not
yeah,
a good thing.
dude.
But I think I've been through that quite a bit, but what I do love it on now that I'm out, um when you lose yourself and bring yourself back multiple times in your life, I think you come back stronger each time. And I think that's really important. And I feel like in my 28 years of life and like dating on and off for 10 years now, I feel like I'm 100% like secure in who I am, and I don't feel like anyone can take that away from me now. So
But
I'm like, I feel like some people have to lose it, especially if you didn't have it to begin with. Like, let's be real, a lot of us have like childhood trauma and stuff that you have a hard time grasping who you are, or you just, because some people have like, they're like, I know who I am, and no one's fucking with it off the bat, and I think that's great and that's awesome. I didn't. I had to find myself, and lose myself quite a few times to finally just be like, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I like myself, and I think that that's important. If that's something you struggle with, I think everyone eventually will get there. And if you lose yourself and lose yourself again and again, don't fret. You come back stronger every time. So
yeah, I love that.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, I feel like a good telltale sign of like, is this person the one? Is can you still be your authentic self with them? Are you still
100%. Someone, there was a TikTok recently. I don't know if you watched it. I don't remember if I sent it to you or not. It was someone interviewing, or they were just talking to their mother about marriage and who you want to marry. And she said, and this was like beautiful. I never actually thought about it before. Well, not beautiful, but it was real. And she was just like, if you can't, she goes, I need you to imagine losing your parent. Your parent dies. Is this person going to support you through it? And I was like, I never kind of thought about that from that angle. And I was like, you know what? That's a, it's a morbid angle, but it's a very real angle. And those are the things you kind of want to think of. Not, do they give you this? Do they do that for you? Do they wash your clothes for you? It's like, at the end of the day, like, are they going to be there for you when your world becomes crashing down? When you lose someone that, like, important to you. And I was like, that's a good way to put it. It's a very solid, strong way to kind of put that. So
Love that. Yeah.
yeah,
That's raw. I
very
yeah,
raw.
very good. Yeah. Okay, but this isn't as raw. So next
Let's get back into the interviews here.
the next dude, he says, "My wife is an idiot. Every day with her is like a trip to Idiot Island."
Dude, what a perfect. I didn't even realize that was the fucking second interview. That is amazing. Oh, I love when shit like that lines up.
And he said, "I don't tell her this because I'm afraid she'll leave me."
Oh, Jesus God.
He's gonna keep going to Idiot Island every day.
Idiot Island. I'm sure she feels the same way, sir.
Honestly. I hate this last scene. So, like, we have a man and a woman sitting together on a bench, and the man is speaking in sign language to the woman. And then she turns around and looks in the camera, and she's like, "I don't speak sign language. I don't understand it."
That doesn't make any sense, though, because then how is he understanding, like, he would automatically know that, like, she doesn't know what he's signing.
See, that's what upset me about it. I'm like, they finally have, like, the representation of somebody in the freaking deaf community, and they choose
Right.
that kind of bullshittery. Like, it just, I feel like
There could have been a much more, like, clever, like,
so much more
thing
clever.
there.
That's, like, upsetting. Like, and made me
I
feel
swear.
I'm like, okay, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like that scene. But I like the
What did they ask? I forgot. What was the question that they asked the people?
well, the whole idea was is it better to fake it than to be alone?
Okay.
So the
Yeah, so.
person, rather she's faking her aesthetic, she's
Right.
compatible with the guy except
Right.
her aesthetic, so she changed that. The next guy is faking about the fact that he like, I guess, tells his wife that she's not a fucking idiot, and she doesn't take him to Idiot Island.
Yeah.
And then the last one is that the woman is faking being able to understand sign language.
Okay. I forgot. I was like, what was the theme of the
Yeah.
interviews? But yeah,
So,
that makes that all pulls it together. There's so much stuff, like, there's so much more clever things they could have done there
so many.
with faking it.
Yeah. And I feel like they could have had, like, an actual, like, cool moment with somebody who was deaf on the show, but whatever, because deaf people,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, next scene we have the broads watching porn at Carrie's apartment together. I never really noticed how often in this show until we started doing this that people watch porn together, like on the television in
Yeah.
the room all together. Like, do you do that?
You're like my only friend.
I know.
Just
That's
kidding.
why, like, I remember once
Have we done that?
in high school, like one time, and we like did it like watching it on your like little
On our phone?
No, it was an
Why were we watching porn on my iPod?
I don't remember.
It's just funny.
Sleepover
I mean, it's not.
It was like the
It's
one.
not. Oh, that's true.
I think
It was just once.
that we went on Omegle. We were just like on the.
Yeah,
And it was like
probably.
Well, like, what else do you do? Often in the show, like it happened when they were watching the spanking. It happened when Carrie was watching with that guy with the models who didn't know. And then they also
I just think
watch that couple have sex, I guess, in like real life. So it's not
yeah,
porn, like porn.
that's really interesting. And it's one thing. It's funny too because it's more. You would think it's more accessible now.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people don't do it as much because and so like back then.
Well, also like back in like in the 70s and stuff, didn't they used to like actually screen it in theaters? Wasn't that a thing?
Yes. Well,
Because
yeah. So they had
before people had access to taking it home at all.
right. They had back in even in the 30s and 40s, they'd had screenings of like dirty movies. That,
Right?
yeah, and then actually, I think this if I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who, but there's certain sex stores and porn stores you were able to watch the videos at the store. You have
Cool.
the and like you would close off you'd have like a little room to watch it in. I think that was a real thing. That was before. I don't know actually. Is it still a thing? I'm gonna have to look that up.
We'll have to look at that. If anybody knows, let us know.
I feel like that is actually like a very tricky business to have,
That would,
probably.
yeah.
Unless I'm like just thinking of people who just disgustingly like do that, like jack off in public. Like, what if it's like not normalized? It's just like that's what I thought of in my head to normalize it. No, I'm almost positive that's a thing though. If not, I'm shows where my brain goes.
I feel that. Man. We're watching the porn together, and Carrie said that she quit cigarettes, so they're all like, she has like some candy on her lap, and Samantha tries to get a couple, and she's like, I said one, I quit smoking. She like slaps her hand.
Oh,
I'm
jeez.
like, ugh.
Hey,
Anyway,
you know how real that is, though.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, quitting something you miss. You're like, oh, you're like, I need my this, I need my that. Get away from me.
Yeah, really, man. But they're watching the porn, and the it's one of those porn like clips where like the dude, like, as soon as he like enters her, she comes. Just like enters. But yeah, no, Miranda's pissed when she sees this. She's like, no wonder men think that's all it takes. Because they're watching porn
Honestly, yeah.
movies, I guess. And there's a lot of like unrealistic standards that porn sets, but we won't get into that right now. But she mentions, I love these couple of lines from Miranda right here. She says, it's funny, men can rebuild a jet engine, but when it comes to a woman, what's the big mystery? It's my clitoris, not the Sphinx.
It's not a mystery, it's that they don't care.
Yeah. Well,
It's not it's not
because we're seeing it right here, at least in this circumstance.
that is true.
It just doesn't.
I feel like how stupid do you have to be to not know where a clitoris is? If you can see it. Mama's knocking over stuff.
Get a bush.
Hey.
Like a
Cool it.
bush.
What? What the hell did you say?
He had like a bush, like a bush.
You know what? Never thought about that one before.
Yeah. So maybe he like couldn't find it. I don't know. But yeah. Oh my god.
No. Oh, you know what? She does.
Oh yeah, she does.
Or she's capable of growing one. We know that. We'll find that out eventually.
Yeah. Fire crotch over there.
Hey, speaking of my hair not being my real color, let's stop throwing that shit around.
Oh my god. Oh my god, we have Samantha, and she comes in and she says that, like, men just need to be taught, and says that if she had a son, she would teach him all about the clitoris and, like, how women's vaginas worked and stuff. And then Carrie swoops in with the, if you had a son, we would call social services. And I'm like,
that's rude.
Yeah. Like, I
That's
understand.
mean.
People need to learn about anatomy. And I think that's all that Samantha was saying with that. But I feel like Carrie took it to that next level. But whatever, right? But all in all, whatever.
What? Just rude, dude. Carrie's a bitch sometimes.
Really fucking
how
is.
rude. I know she was trying to be funny. I don't know why. Carrie's supposed to be the comedic relief of the show, and sometimes she is, but sometimes it just doesn't. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm like, that's not funny. That's mean,
and it doesn't even like land very well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, Miranda just is like, saying how he called her earlier and was like talking about how good it was when they had sex. And she's just like, how does he not know that I'm faking, like that it wasn't that good? And Carrie's like, because you're faking it. That's
Because
why
you're
he,
faking
oh,
it.
yeah. Like, don't get
Yeah.
mad. He's doing great when you're telling him he's doing great, you know.
100%. Because how
Uh,
how the fuck's he supposed to know,
how
you know?
he probably just thinks you come that way. Like, anyways, yeah. And she asks Miranda, why are you faking it? Because that's not really like a Miranda thing to do. Normally she's so just like, not,
Right?
yeah.
But
Oh,
that's what I think the theme of the episode is. I
yeah,
think that's why we see this kind of other side of Miranda, because
yeah,
we are talking about being single and being versus being alone, or single and alone versus like
yeah.
being with
They all
someone. And
are doing
uh,
things they would normally do, huh?
right, they're doing the kind of duality aspect of like, okay, well, what is kind of going on
Yeah.
here? How
What
do I feel about being
did
single?
I get this? Okay, I see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's just like, he's a nice guy and he means well. That's why she's faking it. That is the reason. And
Interesting.
Samantha takes off and she goes to meet William. And while she's out with him, they go dancing. And I gotta say, this outfit of hers is so fucking cute. She has this cute little strappy purple dress and she has a little orchid in her hair. She looks so adorable.
Yeah.
I love it.
I remember seeing that one. It's cute.
William is talking to her about all these really cool things that they can do together. And he's just painting pictures in her head of all these adventures. And he uses the term we a lot. He says, we can go sailing, we can cook lobsters, we can go walk at the beach together. And Samantha notices how comfortable he is with using, the term we, mentioning how
Mhm.
rare it is for a man to use that term so early and so much. And she resists at first, but then after a little bit, and the more he's talking, I guess maybe the more the alcohol flowed and stuff too, she starts getting into it and relaxing into it and begins to trust this from him. She had the red flag go off, but then she made
Mhm.
little pink flag a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
ignored it.
Yeah, that's kind of a tricky spot to be in.
Yeah,
Especially with someone who's not really big on relationships. When you do kind of like enter that territory, you get scared because you're like, you're vulnerable. You're like, I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go through something that's like bullshit. I think Samantha's a pretty big component of that, as we see throughout the show. But yeah, it's fucked up. The whole like false facade thing really pisses me off. Like, don't throw we unless it's like directly about like just a date we're gonna go on. Oh, we can go here, we can go there. That's kind of cool. Like, don't, you don't have to be throwing we about the future. You can be like, oh yeah, we can go to the movies next Tuesday. Not like, oh yeah, like, well, maybe we can do this and do that and do. And I'm like, no, 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 no. We don't have to get that far, dude. Like, let's get till Tuesday, and then like we can then we can keep talking and go
yeah,
from there.
yeah.
Like the idea of being a unit so early on is like,
Kind of scary.
yeah,
Little too.
yeah,
But Samantha calls Carrie on the phone the next day and tells her all about it.
of
She,
course.
yeah, she tells her all about her plans to go to the Hamptons with William and all these places he's gonna take her, all these things they're gonna do together. And Carrie questions it. She's like, isn't it too early for that kind of talk? Like, oh, is he a wee guy? Like,
Yeah.
throw around that word with you. And Samantha just like brushes it off, mentioning how, it's not like that. These are all the plans that he has for us. She's very much enthralled with William and is very much like into this idea that he's created.
What's interesting about this episode too, because in the past couple episodes we see a lot of letdown um with Samantha.
Yeah.
So I think she's getting a slight bit more rejection than she's used to getting.
Yeah.
So I think she's clinging on to this more. Actually, I feel that personally right now. That's I feel like that. Like, and then you're kind of you're excited for something new, but then it's scary. But you're like, I do feel like when you go through a little bit more rejection, you're getting that instead. You cling on to what's semi hopeful a little bit more than you normally would, you
Okay.
know, because if you feel good, you're like, okay, like you're like you're like getting up a hill somewhere, and like you can go, you're on this hill, right, and it's there, and you can either get across the hill, or you can just start falling back because you don't know how to work your fucking like e-brake, like
Yeah.
it's like my old truck, she couldn't do hills.
Oh, laugh.
Same here. Me and Lass not being able to get over hills.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of not getting over hills, we have the next scene with Josh and Miranda.
What is our segues have been fucking perfect today, dog. Golly.
Oh my god, cheers.
Cheers. I have water.
I have a pineapple saison. It's really good.
Yummy.
From Mexico. It's really good.
Yummy.
Oh yeah, so we have Miranda and Josh in bed, and Miranda refuses to fake it this time. So we see Josh going through the like routine of like he's so into it, he's so happy, he's like, oh my god, yes, 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 and he's like, I'm coming. And she just like lays there looking at him like unimpressed and honestly hard to watch. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he asks her if everything's all right. He's like, "Are you okay?" Like, and she's like,
What
"Yeah,
happened?
yeah." And she's just like, "I'm fine." And he's like, "Well, you didn't come, and you usually do come when I do that. Like, what's wrong?" He thinks that something's like emotionally wrong with her, and he's checking in. And she comes clean about faking her orgasms with him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, like, do you have a physical problem?"
Straight to the oh, there's something wrong with you.
She says that,
Damn.
like, she comes clean. She's like, "No, I have not come." And he says, like, "Do you have a problem?" She's like, "What makes you think I'm the problem?" And he's like, "Well, no offense, but no one's ever had to fake it before with me." Like, kind of cocky, And then she hits him with the a lot of women fake it, and up until about 5 minutes ago, you didn't know that I was faking it.
Well.
You're gonna need some ice for that burn.
Josh.
Fucking Josh, dude, not being able to make her come. But yeah. He gets kind of freaked out, not gonna lie. He like totally backs off and is just like, uh and he gets really quiet, like obviously stressing out about it. And she's like, are you good? He's like, I'm fine. I'm just running a list through my head.
Dude, that's so funny.
Most faked it. And she's like, it's okay.
And you know what's it's kind of sad though too, because some people, sex is very vulnerable in the sense of like you want to be good. You want to be good, and so when you're not, that can be like soul crushing. I'm like that. I am like that. Like if I'm not, I'd be miserable. I'm like, please tell me so I can work on this, because I can't, I don't want to be bad. I don't want to be bad in bed ever, 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 ever. I'm like, this is the one time you get to be fun. This is you get to do all
Yeah.
you get to do all the good things. I want to be good at it. So,
Oh my
Jesus.
god. So I feel like it's reasonable that he's all like freaked out. And Miranda, she chills out a little bit. She's not as mad anymore. And she's like, it's okay. Woman's anatomy is complicated. And he's like, I know, I'm a doctor. She's like, you're an eye doctor.
Okay, they all go to medical school.
Yeah. And then I feel like this next thing that he says is just like biggest dick energy. It's like this is what you want to hear from somebody when this kind of situation happens. He says,
Mhm.
"Give me tips on how to get you off." He asks
Yeah,
you,
show me.
"Show me." That is big dick energy. Don't get
You
mad
know,
that she criticized it. Ask her how to do it right.
you know what's weird though?
What? What's
I
weird?
just thought about this.
Uh,
So when I have intercourse, like um, you don't have to say anything to redirect someone. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
You can slightly without fucking up the mood, move yourself in a position that feels better. Or you can let's say someone's look, let's be real, dude. Let's
I'm
say
laughing.
someone's giving you
I'm laughing because I've tried that before, like in the past and stuff with certain people who just like weren't
yeah.
picking up what I was putting down, and I would try to do that, and then they would like adjust with it, and then keep doing what it was they were doing.
No.
Like,
No. So like, you can subtly do that and whatever, like someone's going down on you. You can kind of move yourself. You can grab their head. You can move it. Dude, it's like a controller, dog. You
like a
there you
car.
go.
Like,
Let's be real, dog. It's not that hard.
crystal.
It's not that hard to give a little direction. Just saying. Just say you can do this shit without breaking the tension, without making it weird, you
Do you
know?
feel like acknowledging it verbally is breaking the tension?
Absolutely. For
Yeah,
me, at least. It's one
yeah.
thing to be, well,
But
it
you're like
depends how
a lot
comfortable.
than I am in bed. Like I like to talk in bed. I think it's fun acknowledging stuff because it's
I
like,
get that way when I get more comfortable with someone.
oh, I do
In the
too.
beginning, yeah, in the beginning stages, you want to like keep it, but like, yeah, I'm 2 years in a relationship. I'm gonna be like, hold on, let me move up. Like, but I'm not gonna do that on the first time I'm sleeping with someone.
Why not?
Unless the vibe's there.
Yeah,
Unless the vibe's there. I don't dude, okay, it's been a hot minute since I've like partaken in such activities, okay? So I'm trying to like get a sense of what it's like again. Jeez.
I get that. Oh my god! And then this next line, she's like, "Well, do you know how the clitoris works?" And he's like, "Yeah," and like excited, like, "Yeah, I know," like a dog. And she's like, "Well, it's about 2 inches from where you think it is." That
Oh
fucking
yeah, she's like,
got me. And I've always wondered ever since, like, what did that mean? Where was he going? What did he think her clitoris?
but that's what I'm saying is how hard is it to know if he's 2 inches away, move his head.
But like, what is he mistaking for her clitoris? 2 inches away is what I want to know.
A
Like,
labia.
yeah, or something, you know?
Yeah, probably a labia. You said, oh my God. You're like, oh, pobrecito. Oh, dude, I was just telling her, I was like, I skipped this episode. Oh, that's so funny.
But Miranda's sweet. She and in this part, I would normally describe her as sweet, but she says, "I can show you," and I think that that is really like the best. Honestly, I feel like this is the best approach that they could have had for this kind of moment. And I feel like when you find yourself in this kind of situation, like, obviously, like you were saying, you don't want to do this the first time you've had sex, but this is probably like the fourth or fifth time that they've had sex. I think the fourth.
Yeah, you get a little
Because they
more.
had sex twice the first time, they had sex once again, and then now they're having sex again. So it's been
Yeah,
times, and I think that it's so sweet that they're gonna like have that kind of connection with one another. I feel like
yeah,
that's just like a whole other world of intimacy that's just so pretty and beautiful. And I feel like I just feel like if you don't feel comfortable enough to have these kind of conversations, maybe you shouldn't be having sex with that person. Maybe you're just
yeah. I
I don't know,
mean,
but circumstances are always unique, and
It
whatnot.
depends, because let's say you're like, okay, I'm just fine with this, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't care that much into it, whatever.
Yeah. Well, next scene we have Carrie meeting Charlotte's new guy Tom, and Carrie compares what Charlotte's doing with Tom to what Samantha's doing with William. Mr. Wee.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Carrie asks how he's gonna, because okay, so Charlotte is explaining to Carrie all of the projects that Tom is gonna help her with in her apartment. They're gonna do all these different construction projects, and Carrie's like, how are you gonna do that if you're leaving really soon to go work on that show? And that's when we find out that Tom is not going to Salt Lake City like he planned. He's gonna stay and be in a relationship with Charlotte.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. And when he walks away to go grab some supplies, Charlotte tells Carrie how when she found out that he was going to be leaving, that she realized that he could have been her the one, and she couldn't let him get away. She she says she almost let the whole almost 40 out of work actor thing get in the way. What if he was her soulmate? He's strong, he's masculine, and he fixes things, you know? And Carrie's like,
Okay.
you can't make a relationship work because he can caulk your tub. And Charlotte's like, yes, I can. And that is
In more ways than one. In
uh,
more ways than one.
so.
That's such a funny euphemism for sex, though. I love that.
Man. Next scene, we have Carrie going out for more cigarettes. Oh, okay, and she says the usual again.
Right.
So that girl's smoking like freaking 40 cigarettes, 80 cigarettes a week. It's a lot. But
Yeah. Oh, wait. So, yeah, you're right. So, in the beginning, she gets 2 packs, and we're just like 2 days later here. So, she's probably a pack a day smoker.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, so she tells the guy the usual again. And while he is getting her cigarettes for her, she is kind of like thinking to herself and like wondering, am I happy being single? Like, or is this something that I've just been telling myself to get through it?
Right. Right.
Actually, that. And when the guy hands her cigarettes, he looks at her with pity. And that is Carrie's final straw. She goes home.
Yeah.
And decides to go out. She says, I'm not going to let a magazine, my friends, or the Surgeon General stop me from being who I am. Single and fabulous! Exclamation point.
Love.
Yes. So Carrie calls up Stanford, and they end up at this club like in the middle of the night on a freaking Tuesday. And here's Stanford inviting Nevin, who is the guy that got Carrie on that photo shoot.
Yeah.
And Carrie comes in strong with a "Hi, I hate you" to the guy. And he's laughing. He's like, "Join the club, I hate me too."
And Neville say,
He says, "Join the club, I hate me too." And I feel like that is the best response I've ever heard for somebody saying, like, "I hate you." I feel like I'm
dude, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pocket
That's what I would say.
another time.
I say that shit all the time. People are like, when I do that on the reg, actually. I'm like, okay, talk shit. I'm like, I talk the most shit about myself. I'm the one who talks the most shit about myself. So keep it going. I'm like, there's nothing there's nothing that you can fucking say that I haven't already said in like my mirror to myself. Keep it going. I actually want something more creative now. Give me some inspiration. The cat's fucking with shit right now too.
Fucking Mama.
Mama.
And he says he had nothing to do with how the cover went, and he said he was sorry.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Bullshit.
She like ran away when he said that. She's like, "Oh shit, mom's mad." Yeah, dude, Nevin just like, or Neville, whoever he is, he takes off, and he as he's leaving, he's like, "You're fabulous," and like leaves. And Carrie's just like, you're gonna have to break up with him, right? To Stanford. And he's like, I can't. We're getting a summer share.
It's the Hamptons. It's the Hamptons. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, next scene is very sad. We have Samantha, and she is done up, and she is waiting for William at her favorite romantic restaurant. And she is waiting for him. He's late, and he gets really late. And there is something talked about in this scene that it's not a modern problem. And I think it's so interesting because she talks about how she hadn't expected to be at a restaurant alone. So she didn't bring any of her dining alone armor with her, which would be like a book or a project. So this is before phones had any kind of features that could keep you occupied. Cell phones, you just dial the number and press talk, and that was it, really. And I don't even think texting was a thing yet at this point. So there was literally, I don't think so. She has a phone on her, but there's nothing that she can do on it to distract herself. And I just feel like this kind of situation isn't as like, I don't feel like this would go down the same way in a modern setting. She feels naked and exposed because she's sitting at a restaurant by herself with nothing to do and no one to talk to. She's just sitting there,
Yeah.
Which is so sad. Like you said, it's her favorite restaurant,
Yeah.
And after
but then you're kind of like, it's my favorite restaurant. Let me just enjoy being here.
Yeah, but she really liked that guy,
Yeah, we've all been there.
On him, and it's just not fun. And she's just she was already feeling kind of insecure about being like 40 and single. Who's 40, but but so sad. And the waiter is being really nice about it. He keeps bringing her bread, keeping her cup filled, all of that. And at one point, Samantha accidentally spills her wine, and she's so overwhelmed she goes to the bathroom to cry. Which is so
she's there like this in the scene, like she just feels so embarrassed. She's like crying and just like she's like holding herself in her fur jacket, like very dramatic, which I'm like, Sam's a Leo. And like she's just like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. She's mortified. She's feeling embarrassed in public, which I would totally like. I get, but like it's so funny because as like embarrassed as she is, I feel like she looks so fucking good in that scene. I'm like, she's just like, this looks like this boss bitch,
I just feel like
great in that scene.
Like she looks like she got stood up too. So she's like as hot
and it's so
right now.
Right. And that's so intrinsic because isn't that crazy? Because no one would know.
No one would know.
No one would know. No one would know,
Yeah. But she just realized, this was a guy who faked a future with a woman to get what he wanted in the present. So she goes to the restroom, right? And she's just like, she's upset. She's crying in the restroom. She cleans herself up, and she comes out, and the waiter had been waiting for her outside the restaurant and asked her if she's okay. And she tells him that she's just sad about how it went, and sometimes you just need to hear "we," right? And
yeah,
he pulls her in for a kiss, and she lets him.
Yeah, moment of vulnerability.
She said that she did because he'd been so sweet and attentive with the bread. I would have.
That's Carrie's monologue.
But that's just me.
Huh?
I feel like that sounds good in like a romance novel when a vampire does it, but like I feel like if that was done in real life, scary experience.
Dude, my life is a vampire romance novel, okay?
Oh my god.
Or at least I'm trying to get it there.
He pulls away and he tells her that if she takes him home, she won't be alone. And she tells him no, because she decides and knows that like sometimes it's better to just be alone than to fake it.
There we go. And that's in typical Samantha form.
So she tells
We
him
kind of
no.
come full circle. Yeah.
Yeah. But as she walks away, she goes back and she gives him a tip and then she leaves. So we go back to Carrie at that freaking bar and she's embarrassingly drunk. Like sloppy, like no, it's not cute drunk. And
Oh, so earlier when they first get there, they're like, they go tartini, and she's like,
oh yeah,
what? And he's like, it's a tartini, it's cranberry flavored vodka. And so she's like, okay. And that's what she's been drinking. So I know why this is why she's super drunk. So I think that they're just drinking straight
liquor.
vodka. It's
Yeah.
just, it looks pink because it's cranberry tinged vodka. It's
Oh,
not,
I
it's not a
never seen her
mix.
this wasted like at any other part of the show. She's like
So, uh,
burnt.
yeah, because a Cosmo is vodka, cranberry, Contro, and some lime. So that it has a little bit of a mix. I mean, yeah, there's like two kind of liquors or whatever. But no, if this is just straight like ounce plus like 2-3 ounce pour of just straight vodka, like
Carrie is just she is being so sloppy that she actually like spills her drink all over this guy and it's just really hard to watch. And then out of
oh yeah,
out of the
she
smoke,
tries to like clean him.
yeah, and he's just like, just
And
stop, like, off of me. It's hard to watch. But in
yeah.
Bradley Cooper. We have Bradley Cooper in this episode.
It's not as Bradley Cooper though.
No, it's not as
The,
Bradley Cooper. I think in
his
his
name's Jacob. It's Jake. It's Jake.
Jake, yeah. And Carrie him and she's like, he is everything I was looking for tonight. Single, straight, and a smoker.
Perfect.
Perfect. And he's pretty, so that's a bonus.
Dude, he looks so good. I was like, oh,
Fun in this scene. I was just like,
I
whoa.
love Bradley Cooper.
Like, oh my
Yummy.
god.
Love Bradley Cooper.
No, for real. So we're introduced to Bradley Cooper's character, Jacob. And then we pan over back to Josh and Miranda for one last time. And Miranda has spent the last 2 days trying to teach this guy how to make her come.
Like it shouldn't have to take you that long.
2 days. And
that's ridiculous.
Says, I know.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, it's so bad. And she literally is like, it's starting to feel like an eye exam. I thought that shit was the funniest thing. Because you know how like an eye exam, like, and now this or this? This
it's like or left or right.
Right. Left or right. Let me
listen, number one or number two?
You
number
know?
1 or number 2? This slide or that slide?
And even with all of his, like, he's trying. He's actively trying. He's asking questions. He's very engaged. He's trying, but it's not working.
He's a doctor. He's a dork. He's a nerd. Of course, he's doing his research.
And she realizes with certainty that it would never work between them. And, like, at this point in time, we're watching her ride him, like, what would you call that position? Like, she's on top, and he is also, like forward facing, but her back is to him. And he has, like, one hand on her clit, and it's just, he's trying.
I don't know the name. Really I don't know the name for it.
Me either. But
I don't know. We have to look it up.
She is, like, realizing it's never going to work, so she fakes the orgasm one last time just to make it stop.
Oh, yeah. And it's she gives, what did Scary narrate? She says something like, oh, she gives him, like, one big show or, one last.
Yeah. One last hurrah.
Hurrah. Yeah.
Oh, my God. And then we go back to Carrie and Jacob and back at the bar. And it is 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, and they are drunk. They are drunk. Are falling all over people drunk. And they get in his Porsche, and then they leave. And I'm going to make a little side note. Don't fucking drink and drive. It is 2024. Get yourself an Uber. If you can't afford the Uber, then you can't go out fucking drinking. That is all I have to say about them. But they stop for smokes on the way back to whoever's apartment that they're gonna end up in.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You want anything?" She's like, "Nah, I'm good." And he goes to, do that. And, while he's going and getting the smoke, she's just kind of like, I guess, like validating what it is that she's doing,
Hmm.
and talking about how it's like not that bad or whatever. And that gets cut off because he comes back and he has a copy of the magazine that she's on. And is
Uh-oh.
this you?
Is this you?
You
He pulls
know?
up. Oh, God.
Okay, like side note for just a second though. Can you imagine if you were on a date with somebody and you like stopped for cigarettes like that and you like saw them on a magazine like that? It'd be fucking wild. But
I don't know.
yeah, but yeah. And then she's kind of face to face with her situation and she's like, if I go sleep with him, it would be the first time in my life that I slept with a man for validation. Then the question mark wouldn't just be a question mark, it would be a fact. Like,
Hold the phone. Hold the phone. You're going to tell me that sleeping with Bradley Cooper was for validation? Fuck you, Carrie. That man was hot. Let's be real.
and so she
Oh,
just
look
like,
how fucking. Hold up. I pulled him up. Look how drunk he looks. Hold the phone. Oh my God. This was him showing her the fucking article, dude. Oh, God damn it. Hold it. Went away. This is wild. He's
yeah,
all kinds of fucked up. God damn, it's not focused. There we go. He is all, all kinds of messed up, dude.
yeah, it was. And so she decides to leave. She's like, I'm gonna head out. And he tells her
That's
he's gonna let
crazy.
the car.
And he
And
what?
he tells her, I'm not letting you out of the car.
Hot.
And it's like, what'd you say?
Hot.
That's fucking funny because I was here in my notes. I was like, this is like the one time in the show where I was like actually kind of concerned for their safety for a second. I was like, what is this guy gonna do to her? Um,
He
but
doesn't want her drunkenly going home.
no, he's just gonna drunkenly drive her home.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But she like, so it's a convertible car and she just like climbs out the back seat. She's like, fuck you. She takes off. And that's it. She walks away from Mr. Bradley Cooper.
No more Bradley Cooper.
For Bradley Cooper. I hope he bought that magazine and told people.
Oh, no shit. Probably.
So
That's so funny.
oh my god.
Hold up. Look at the way. Okay, actually, this kind of validates maybe the creep. So this is. Look at. Look at him coming up to Carrie. Setting his sights.
No. Oh my god, this next scene though. So Charlotte and Tom, they break up with each other at the same time. They have a mutual breakup in like every sense of the phrase. So Tom tells Charlotte like he's gonna move to Salt Lake City after all, and she like fakes being surprised. She's like, "Oh no," and she realized she was like okay with it honestly because like just a couple days ago she'd like realized to herself that she could fake orgasms, but she couldn't fake intimacy.
No, you can't.
You know. And he was lying about why he wanted to leave. He honestly was just so sick of New York and just needed a reason to get the fuck out. You
Yeah,
know,
of course.
you just need to move on with your life, go somewhere else. And she's like, I'll miss you. He's like, I'll miss you too. And they say that it was a perfectly timed fake, double fake breakup.
Yeah.
Under any other circumstances that they could have lived a happy life together. And I really do feel like this kind of goes along with my how I feel about love, which is like half of it is compatibility and the other half is timing. You know,
I
you can
agree.
completely compatible with the person and everything absolutely works except where you two are in your own lives.
100%.
You know? And
100%.
I
I definitely agree.
and I think that yeah, like that's just part of it, you know? I knew
Absolutely.
for 5 years before we ever started dating, you know, we didn't even know we were that
Yeah.
compatible. You just
Yeah. Yeah, it
timing
can
it.
just happen that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really. Um, but over the next week, things kind of return back to normal. You know, Miranda forgets to return Josh's last phone call again, and Samantha gets revenge on William. She finds him at one of his bars and throws a drink in his face, like true Samantha
Oh,
fashion.
yeah.
Well, he's like talking
Oh, Samantha.
to you. And Charlotte, we see her with the contractor in her house, and it's like, you don't have to date them to get them to fix stuff in your house. You can just hire them.
Yeah, Charlotte.
And then we pan over to Carrie at this little cafe by herself. And the camera goes over this newsstand where it shows that all of the magazines that had her on it were like on their way out as new magazines were coming in. You know, it's already old news. And
Mhm.
she realizes that she needed to take her fear out to lunch. And I love this scene so much. I think that this is one of the really great moments of Carrie Bradshaw where she kind of like,
Yeah.
this was a great moment as far as like her character development and who she is. She takes herself out to lunch. And you know how we talked about all the armor that Samantha was like freaking out that she didn't have?
Mhm.
Carrie specifically didn't go out with any of that. She goes out and
Yeah.
goes to enjoy her time alone.
Yeah,
And
it's just her and a glass of wine outside. So,
yeah, and I really admire that a lot.
I love it. I love doing
Uh,
those solo things. Doing things alone is very invigorating for yourself. Solo like lunches or so
yeah,
it's just nice being with yourself, and
it really is.
she looks great. She looks, she's just
Yeah.
outwardly looking the streets of New York City and, you know, just kind of enjoying time with herself.
I find a lot of empowerment by doing stuff like this and taking back
Absolutely.
power and just enjoying my own company and not being afraid to do.
Absolutely.
And it is
Absolutely.
really soul healing. I'm still working my way up to watching a movie by myself. I
Oh,
specifically
it's the best.
for the right movie, I guess. I don't know. But I like going to like the mall by myself or like going to restaurants by
Mhm.
myself. It's really nice.
Yeah.
If
I
you have
love a solo like lunch.
and
It's the best.
especially if you're married, like not gonna lie, like I love doing things with I adore him. Like we do everything together. We even match each other's outfits as like, whatever it is, Um but there is something to be said about you are in a marriage but you still also have a relationship with yourself and you should honor that and
Yeah.
don't lose that.
Absolutely.
Like you said
Absolutely. Never lose yourself.
how you don't want to lose yourself in your relationships. I think obviously that includes marriage, like
Oh,
still always
100%.
keep that with yourself.
Especially as such.
Yeah, especially. But yeah, that's how we end this episode. Carrie takes her fear
That is
out.
how we end it.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
very powerful scene as far as like you know yeah, just
Yeah. And
that's
the the title's kind of fitting too now that we're at the end of the episode. It's like they shoot single people, don't they? And it's like it just shows how much the pressurized stigma to be single was. Like look at how it affected all the four girls, and
yeah,
um it's
being
a
at their age and that
right.
time.
Yeah, that
I feel like
too. So,
a lot more normalized now for people in their 30s to get married, but
yeah, definitely. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, that's a great episode. It's a long one. It's got a lot of people, it's got a lot of parts. Um
every
Good message though.
very fleshed out storyline, so it definitely took a little.
Yeah. Great episode. Yeah, here we are. This is episode 4.
Ooh, episode
Wow.
4. Done.
By next episode is 5, so we're pretty much a quarter of the season done by next episode. Yeah, because we have 18 episodes. Yeah, it flies by, man. We started this and it's starting to fly by. I cannot. This is crazy. Yeah. Next episode is titled 4 Women and a Funeral. So we'll see who dies. Huh?
I said yes, somebody will die.
Someone will die. That's actually as terrible as that sounds, it's a fun episode. So we'll get into that one, but yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, this is a good episode. A lot goes on. So thanks for joining in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting as always. What did we have any homework for them this episode? What did we ask? We asked something.
Oh, okay. Let's ask everybody. Okay, I want to know, have any of you guys ever faked something to be in a relationship with somebody? You know what I mean?
That'd be a good one.
Fake your.
That's a pretty vulnerable question.
We'll put it anonymously. We won't release any names. Have you ever faked something to get into a relationship? Like, even if it's like something as like shallow as like I faked liking Nickelback. I
wore shit like that.
bracelets and listened to Nickelback.
Oh, Jesus.
Like I ate meat even though I was a vegetarian, or pretended to be vegan, you know? Maybe.
A real side note here, on HBO Max, the little description of the episode says Carrie thinks she likes being single. Shots fired. God damn.
Oh my god.
They said, bitch, be so fucking for real right now.
So fucking for real, dude.
Oh Lord, my goodness. But yeah, so let us know. Let us know. As always, we appreciate any kind of support and feedback and anything at all. We will be back at you next week with season 2, episode 5, 4 Women and a Funeral. Yeah, thanks again, guys. Thank you for everything. We shall see you guys next week, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So love you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Hey guys.
Bye.